This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
One of nature's rites of spring and summer is watching baby birds get kicked out of the nest. But in the human world, it doesn't always work out that way. Welcome back to another edition of Real Answers, a regular Wednesday feature during the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues that matter to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Welcome back, Chris.
Good to be back, Mark, as always.
As always.
You live with your parents?
Is that a problem? His parents want him out.
He's 35 years old. He still lives at home. That is not normal.
I've lived upstairs since I was 3. He was going to take a stick of dynamite to get me out of my parents' house.
Failure to Launch, you might have seen it. It was a pretty funny 2006 movie, but it's also become a way to describe adult children who, for one reason or another, are reluctant to fly off on their own. Is this common still these days?
Yeah, it is pretty common, and unfortunately, it may actually be becoming more common. Definitely something that has arisen quite a bit in my own practice here as a licensed mental health therapist and just trying to help parents navigate these waters. So it's definitely a good topic, very timely.
What do you think are some of the factors you've seen behind that?
Well, I think really this could be a several part conversation, Mark.
Complicated.
It really is a deep topic, and we'll try to keep it short here to the time that we're given. There's just really a lot going on. A lot of changes in our society have really been taking place over the past few decades. You look at what's going on in our government, you go on world society with, economies and trying to get jobs back. And you look at what has historically happened over the years, especially in poor rural areas, such as what we find a lot of in our listening area. The jobs just aren't out there that they used to be. Now, that doesn't mean, of course, that is in any way, shape, or form meant to encourage folks to not leave the nest. Of course, they still need to, but it may not be quite as easy as it used to be. And a lot of times, the jobs that are available may not be the best paying jobs. But again, that still doesn't address the issue of why are more people hanging around longer. And that even happened in the insurance industry when suddenly the regulations became such that children that are in their early and mid-20s can remain on the parents' insurance policies until, age 25 or whatever it may be there. So there's been societal changes, and not to mention other things such as different trends in society, primarily ones that are not very good. Just so much to unpack.
Yeah, for sure. As a parent, we've lived through that whole insurance thing where you keep the kids on there, I think, till 25. That is a factor. We sit here and think about the kids staying home way past high school graduation or even college. You maybe have the stereotype of kids sitting there in the basement just playing video games all day. Is that the sort of thing you see there in real life as well?
Oh, goodness, yes. And I am no stranger to making it known that I really do not promote the usage of video games, even a little bit, quite honestly. They're very habit forming. And I have yet to meet folks who say, oh, yeah, I might play, a half hour a week of video games. I've not yet met a person that will say that. Usually folks that are heavily involved in video gaming, they're playing several hours every single day or several hours at least every single week, if not more. Yeah. So the reality is, folks are having a harder time setting boundaries with their teenage and 20-something children and really setting some expectations which are not only healthy, but they're very much godly. I mean, we are encouraged to get out and encouraged to work and to be, obviously be used by God and to find out what is it that God has called us to do in our life and to develop that. So the biggest thing is I'm finding it that more and more parents are having a hard time setting those boundaries and actually encouraging their children, taking the steps to get them out of the house and get them in more of an independent role. It's just becoming harder. I think children that are getting out and going to college have a little bit easier time because they're kind of like that, those college years are a bit of a introduction to the real world, so to speak.
Trial separation almost, yeah.
Exactly. Parents are having a hard time just really pushing them out, really, which is what needs to happen at times.
You're listening to Real Answers. I'm Mark Webster, along with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Today we're talking about that failure to launch syndrome. Obviously, there were no video games back in Bible times, but Scripture certainly does address the general principles here, doesn't it?
It sure does. It absolutely does. And parents need to be active in monitoring their children's usage of their free time, of their leisure time as well, in preparation, believe it or not, for getting them to launch so they have a successful launch once they're out of school and ready to get out into the real working world. And again, with their kids earlier, when they're much younger than 18 years old, get them used to a set of expectations, onto a schedule when they can start working. get them into a routine, because routine and expectation not only helps them to develop, it also gives them a sense of accomplishment. It helps to increase their confidence and their ability to learn new things. And that can happen at a very young age. That does not have to be a teenage thing. And eventually that type of expectation and communicating very clearly with your older children is important in helping them to launch. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, oh boy, what do? I feel like I'm in that boat. Get some counsel, get some guidance about helping to set a plan. And it can be a stepped plan so that you start communicating with your older children saying, hey, we need to look at following through to get you more independent and start the ball rolling. It needs to start with communication, and then eventually increase the expectations around the house, and maybe start charging rent for your children that are still living at home, and gradually increase that too, and encouraging them and expecting them to be out getting jobs, starting to make movements, okay? And you might get some pushback, and I will say this, you probably will. That's okay. Don't let it deter you from following through with the plan, because ultimately, as a parent, you're not going to be there forever. You need to work right now where you can get them introduced to the world, get them out functioning better, being productive members of society. I know maybe you're thinking, oh, I should have done this a long time ago. Okay, fine. Do it now. It's not too late.
Yeah, sometimes a little tough love can go a long way.
Absolutely, and it needs to happen. It needs to happen.
You've been listening to Real Answers, a Wednesday feature of the Family Life Noon Report, where we discuss the issues important to families with licensed mental health counselor Christopher Anderson. Thanks again, Chris.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.